Hey guys, Darren here. Welcome to Mayhem Country Living. I want to talk to you guys a minute about something that occurred over the Easter holiday weekend. We had a bunch of family over, and then we had some extended family come over who we weren't planning on, and they came and visited. We all broke bread together, and we all talked and everything. And then they said, "I hear that you have an interesting basement." And I said, "Well, I have a basement. And it's kind of like my playground." I said, "So I guess it could be thought of as me having an interesting basement." I said, "Absolutely, I do. I guess if you put it that way." I said, "What would you like to know?" And she said, "I hear you're a prepper." I said, "Yes, ma'am. I have been a prepper for quite a few years. I've done this over and over." And she said, "How long have you been doing it, if you don't mind me asking?" And she was an older lady, in good health. Very, very sharp older lady. Um, I said, "I've been doing this probably since the late 90s. Not at this location, but doing this in one form or fashion." And she said, "That's interesting." She said, "I'm looking to do something like this. Can you talk to me and show me what you have?" I said, "To a degree, I can." I said, "I don't show weapons because nobody needs to know that." I said, "But I can show you supplies, get you a list of anything like that, what you need, what you want, what you'd like, how many people you plan in setting aside for." I said, "I'll be happy to do it." I said, "I have done interviews, which I have with several um, national and international magazines." I said, "I have done interviews." I said, "You can refer to XXX, not bragging. I'm not going to elaborate much more than that." I said, "But you can refer to that, and I'll be happy to show you what I do." And this was a very, very savvy lady. And so I brought her downstairs, her and her son, it's my brother-in-law, and we walked down and looked and everything. And she said, "Oh my God, you have a grocery store?" I said, "To a degree." And she said, "What are you looking to do? What are you planning for?" And all this stuff. I said, and a lot of preppers are scared of this stuff. I've always thought that was the silliest thing you could ever do. I'm setting aside for a problem with the economy so I can take care of myself, my family, my people, my group. And that's what I say. And she said, "Well, what about all this, extreme stuff and all that?" I said, "I really don't care about it." I said, "If it happens, I'm still going to have to eat every day, aren't I?" She said, "Well, yeah, you have a point." I said, "There's no rioting in the street, is there?" And she said, "Well, no, there's not." I said, "But you did come over and have lunch with us today." She said, "Yeah, you really have a point now." I said, "Okay, this is what I'm looking at doing and setting aside. I'm not discounting any of the further out plans, ideas, concepts that people have." I said, "But I have never had to shoot a zombie, but usually I eat 2 or 3 times a day." And she said, "Well, you have a that." She said, "That's a very good point." She said, and then she went down a freaking list. Now, if I did not know her, I would say she was a Fed. I have known her for many years. Um, and she said, "Well, what would you do for, what do you do about medical?" I said, "Well, here's medical, such and such. We do this and this, and this is what we take care of, and this is what we plan for with medical." I said, "I have other people who are far more knowledgeable in the medical field than I am, but this is what I have set aside, and this is equipment I have set aside for these people if it should happen." Hold on. I got company. Look at that fella. Can I help you, mister?
When's the water slide up?
The water slide? Boy, it's 60 degrees outside. You can't put the water slide up.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
You could. Maybe after this weekend. How about I go upstairs and we discuss this upstairs? How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys.
We need to do it in the backyard.
In the front yard?
No, in the backyard.
Well, that's the front yard where the dogs are. Move the dogs out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we will let's put this to paper.
What?
And let's write this out, and we'll see if we can't figure something out. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Say bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay, guys, now we're back. And so she asked me this and this and this. And like I said, if she was not family, I would not have answered this much in depth. And no, I will not elaborate here. But she asked me about this and this and this and this and this. And I answered this. She said, that's very interesting. She said, it sounds like you really have it covered. I said, no, ma'am, not at all. I do not have such and such set aside. I am weak in such and such. And again, normally I would not tell anyone this other than my sister's husband, family. I said, this and this and this and this and this is problematic for me. And it might be the fact that it's more expensive, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the time. Instead of buying it, I don't have the time to buy it. I don't have the time to dedicate to learning how to use the equipment after I purchase it. This is the kind of stuff that's working. And she came out and she walked around the property, and I talked to her about chickens, about gardens, about quail, about rabbits, about greenhouse, stuff like that. She was actually very curious about water, one interesting thing, and so we talked about that. And so it was something that was eye-opening. And then I sat down and I really started thinking. After she left, it was wonderful. She's sweet. She's a sweet lady. I have known her for 15 years, something like that. So, I mean, it's not a problem. And you know, they always say, well, I always know if something happens, I know where to go. I say, absolutely, come on down. Be sure to bring your food and your water and your equipment, and bring a bunch of cash. And they just look at me like, and that's how I diffuse the situation. And they're like, well, I guess I could stay at a hotel if I needed to. Hey, there you go. It's an idea. I am not afraid of sitting down with a responsible person and showing them some of the things I have, food, water, medical stuff, what would be in their best interest to get through a power outage, a storm, thunderstorm, tornado. We have a lot of tornadoes down here in Alabama. We have gone 10 days. She said the last time they had a tornado go through, she was without power for 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3. She had no power for 3 weeks. She had a generator, and no one would come crank it up for her. How about that? Ain't that a kick in the ass? Some shitty ass people. I didn't know about it, otherwise I would have. And so we exchanged numbers and all that stuff. And I told her, you know, this and this, you know, we can do this, we can do this, do this, and do this, and do this. And she was very gracious and very appreciative. If that old lady only listens to 1/20th of what we talked about, okay, say we have 100, 10th of 100, it's what, 10? Okay, 20th would be 5. If that old lady only listened to 5% of what we talked about, she will be better off than 95% of the people in the United States. Not because I'm a hell of a guy. It's just because we sat down and had a conversation. Now, I know everybody's going to say OPSEC, OPSEC. You know, I'm kind of tired of that. OPSEC, okay. How many people have you brought into the fold? How many have you converted over to a homesteading lifestyle, a preparedness lifestyle? You're planning for the end of the world and zombies, and you're scared of talking about preparedness to old people. Pretty lame. Anyway, just wanted to put that bug in your ear. When someone asks you about it, and they legitimately are concerned, it is in your best interest to help them. She and I were standing outside talking, and she said, "Oh, you're talking about the chickens and everything." And we were talking about the chickens, and the roosters were out running around. And then all of a sudden, another rooster crowed across the road a little bit further up. And she said, "Oh, they have chickens too." I said, "Yes, ma'am, they do. I gave them to them." And she said, "Oh, you gave them chickens?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Because now I know he has 10 hens and a couple of roosters, which have hatched, you know, over the course of a year." I said, "He has 10 hens and a couple of roosters, and he and his wife and 2 kids, they're not going to come down here and try to take anything from me because they have a food source now." And she said, "I'd never thought of it that way." I said, "Most people don't." That is what we do. Again, you know, and I've done all the silly, stupid videos about, you know, all the zombie crap and all that stuff and the government control, and who knows what happens. But I know regardless of whatever happens, my family's going to be fed. My family's going to be taken care of. I got critters I can eat that reproduce on their own. I have food for them because they forage themselves. And I have gardens. I have things in place. And you know what? It happened overnight. Not really, I'm lying to you. It took a long time to get that way. But there's still plenty of time. Set aside, plan, prepare. Take care of your people. You know there's nobody else that will. They're dependent on you. Damn it, that's sobering, isn't it?